Hello everybody and welcome back to the 5-Star Potential Podcast Social. Hope you all keeping well and safe. We're on to episode 19 now, I believe, of our daily lockdown podcast. And today alongside me, as you can see, we have got Joe, Friday Night FM. Joe, how's it going, man?
Very good, mate. I didn't know we was just in time differences for Brian and Kev.
I know. Yeah. We normally record it in the evening. Brian's was what?
I'm a morning person.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, all our Sunday ones, when we record on Sunday, have been in the morning. But both of them have had technical issues, so I'm hoping today's goes well. So keep an eye on your recording, Kev.
So did you press record, Dave?
I pressed record.
Because one of them was you.
Yeah. Not the two.
I assume you're just writing it all down. It'll
not
be
the
fine.
last Sundays.
You can just get an actor in to redo it. It'll be all right.
Mine was a Friday night, my mistake. The last two Sundays we've had technical issues. Anyway, we have got Dupe as well. Dupe, how's it going?
My Audacity's not going across. What does that mean, Dave? Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm absolutely solid, mate. I'm glad to be here.
Good man. And our special guest for today is Lollujo. Kev, how's it going?
Very good, thank you, Dave. Thank you for saying my name right. It's not often I get that. I appreciate it.
What's the worst way someone has tried to say it?
Calvin?
Yeah, we get that one a lot. Whenever it's anyone American or in America, it always seems to become Lollujo.
Which is funny enough what my wife calls me. If you know, you know. If you know, you know.
Okay, we said...
Dave, can you just call him Lollujo from now on, please?
Yeah, I can't believe I've said that somewhere where people might hear it, because now...
That's even close. My word.
Well, I think it's because of it. If you make it a bit Spanishy, I guess it might
Silent
become
J.
something close to that.
Yeah.
Maybe with the double L and the J in there. I guess I don't know. They probably think I'm Spanish. Lujo.
Like we said before we click record, you've watched all of these, or most of these. So
I have watched all of them. Yes.
Die Hard. Sport.
Apart from there was someone who claimed to be a doctor. I didn't bother with that one, but the rest of them, I watched all of them.
Fake news.
Who's that? Oh, then it clicked.
But yeah, you know roughly how it goes. We're gonna have tangents. We're gonna just talk about life in general. But yeah, this year has been a little bit of a write-off. I think you've had a pretty busy year as well. So we'll talk a bit more about that. But what was your initial reaction when Lockdown 2 was announced? Probably, it was 3 weeks ago now.
Yeah. It was like a 50% relief, 50% panic, because we were moving house right up until the day, well, pretty much a couple of days before lockdown happened. And we'd had emails from the moving companies saying, this is what happens if we go into lockdown before your moving day. And we've spent money, we've got everything set up, and we didn't even really know until the day they turned up with the trucks that we were actually going to get moved, because it could have just changed at any moment. We had to be 3 meters away from them, wearing masks at all time. We weren't allowed in the house at either end when they were in the house. It was the weirdest house move I've ever done. So we were very relieved to get that through before lockdown happened. But then the other thing that was going on whilst we were trying to move house, and my other half's getting a new job, and everything you can possibly change is changing, my car just started breaking down. We got towed home from Skegness, we got towed home from Kingsley, basically got towed home twice. I decided I needed a new car, and because I was going to be leasing, I should probably do that before I move, because getting a new car lease as I move into a new house might have been problematic. So that was after the house move, and I got my car delivered. The new car got delivered the day before lockdown started, but what it meant was I couldn't sell my old car because the place I was going to be selling it shut down for lockdown. So I'm now sat with 2 cars that I've got to pay for as long as lockdown happens, because I've got my new one arrived. Yay, I'm not breaking down anymore, but the old one's still there, and I've still got a year of finance payments left on that. So I kind of need to get that sold pronto.
Kevy, 2 cars.
I know. Kevy can't afford 2 cars. I need to get this one gone.
Have you thought about We Buy Any Car, Kev?
They were the ones who I was selling it through.
Oh, they shut down.
The ones local to me shut down. They've said, you can come to wherever it is.
Yeah,
I think the nearest one was like Birmingham or something that was still open.
Oh, yeah, don't go there.
And I thought, well, is this even an essential journey? Am I allowed to do that by the rules? How do I get back from Birmingham?
To be fair, Kev, I mean, this isn't a weird flex, but the one by me is open. You were dropping weighted flexors at the start, so I'm going to drop one now. So if you want to come to mine, feel free.
I'm on my way. And you're giving me a lift back, yeah? Thanks, dude.
You'll have to go in the boot because you're not in his bubble.
Yeah.
And the initiation to get into my bubble, we probably wouldn't pass it, to be fair, Kev.
Very upset.
What? So obviously you pointed out a couple of things there with the house move. Was there any other main difficulties with that? Because there was a few people in the FM community that decided to move house during lockdown. I remember when we were doing the FM Streamer Showdown, like 3 people could do it. I'm moving house.
Let me just clarify. I didn't pick this time. This wasn't ever part of the plan. This was lockdown 1 and everything to do with that has caused us to have to move when we did. We had a perfect plan set out for 2020. It was the most planned year we've ever had. Anna was finishing uni in May, so she was going to finish uni. She was then going to do her driving lesson. She was going to do an intensive driving course, pass her driving test, get a nice new job in her fancy new career set up, ready to go from late May, early June. We'll sneak in a trip to Disney at the end of May. Early June, she can start a new job once she's passed her driving test, and then wherever she is, we'll move then. We'll move over the summer when my work's nice and quiet, because nothing's happening with FM over the summer. So we'll move house then, and by the time it gets to September, we'll be settled in the new house. She'll be a couple of months into her new job, and he'll be in his new school. And then I'll be settled in my new office, ready for the new game cycle. Everything's perfect. Nothing happened like that. At uni, she had to finish at home. Andy was off school for 8 months. She hasn't been able to do her driving because she can't do driving lessons at the moment. And she couldn't get a job until, she started her job on the 2nd of November. Because that was the first time, that was the earliest opportunity she could get. And it wasn't even the job she wanted. And
nothing happens with FM in November, does it?
Yeah.
No, exactly. So we got into the position where we didn't find out she had that job until early October. She got the job offer, and they said, "Can you start in 2 weeks?" No, because we've got to move and everything. Give us a month. So we had a month from when she got the job offer to find a house, move into it, sort all the school and the medical stuff, and then I put a spanner in the works by saying, and by the way, we do need to get this done before the new Football Manager game comes out, because if we're in the middle of a move when that beta drops, we can't pay for that house. I kind of need to be making content when the new game comes out. It's when I always describe it to people, because of the way FM is so up and down over the course of the year. I've been panicking all year that they were going to delay the game, because if I have a bad November and December, we don't eat in June. Because this is where I make the bulk of my money for the year, these next couple of months. And if it had delayed into January, when YouTube ad revenue is low, it's like, I'd still get the views, but they ain't paying for the rest of the year if it happens that way round. So it's been very stressful in a number of ways this year. And yeah, it's left us in this situation where we did get to move, and it's a lovely house in a nice area. But we still haven't got Andy a school, so he's at home with me all the time at the moment. And Anna hasn't been able to learn to drive, so I'm driving her back and forth to work every day. And it's a very different looking year to what we thought it was going to be. But I'll get this out. I should have got this in earlier. I acknowledge there's a lot of people who've had worse years than I have, because I'm complaining about her getting the new job and complaining about everything happening. Oh, and my work was a little bit inconvenienced, but ultimately we've both been able to work all year. And the money stuff hasn't been a worry in the end, because they did get the game out, because Sports Interactive are geniuses and somehow got a game out on time. And it's all worked out okay in the end. But my word, the route to get here has been a nightmare.
Have you had to move far, Kev, or is it still sort of same sort of area where
we've moved about an hour away from where we were before. So it's one of those things where if she could drive, move it, we wouldn't have had to rush to move, because she could have driven it for a couple of months, then we could have taken our time and found somewhere and done it the right way round. But because she couldn't drive, because that bit was removed from the master plan, we literally had to say to her, when she got the job offer, say to her new employer, we should be able to get there in a month, unless we can't find a house and move into it in the next month. Because if we can't get over there, because it's a shift pattern as well, So she's not working consistent days or times. She can work pretty much any length. Shifts vary from like 4 hours to 14 hours any time within a 7-day period, day and night. It's a shift pattern is a nightmare. So we had to be nearby, and it's so we've not moved massively far. Like my kids are still over where we were before, so they're with me this weekend. I can pop over and pick them up. It's nice and easy to do. But yeah, it's we wouldn't have necessarily ended up exactly where we were if we'd have had time to do it properly rather than just basically rush. What we effectively did is we found a house that had room for me to work, accepted the dog, and they could rent it to us super quick. And the first one of them we found, we were like, right, we're having that one. And there was no let's find the dream house stuff involved in this. Is this a nice area? The first time we came to the area we're in, was the day we had that first viewing, and then we came home and said, yeah, we'll have that, and that was it. We didn't even look around the town first. So because of lockdown, I still haven't. I don't even know. I found a supermarket on Friday, which is it's a 3-minute drive from my house, and I didn't know it was there because I haven't been 3 minutes from my house. I just went out looking for one, and there it was. So it's so weird. We've been here nearly a month, and I don't know anything about the local area. Don't know where the doctor's is. I don't know anything. It's such a weird time to move house.
I guess it's just the joys of your job. You can take it literally anywhere. I mean, you could have gone in the ass end of anywhere. As long as it's internet, it doesn't really matter, right?
Oh, don't get me started on the internet.
Oh, yes. Sorry. I saw those tweets. Yeah, I'll send them back.
That adds to the stress. I was going to say, Dave, I'm surprised you didn't know where he lived, because he showed us outside his office window once, and Tom FM's been playing GeoGuessr trying to find where it is.
Luckily, I didn't move up towards Lincoln. I already got it just like that. But
who wants to move up to Lincoln anyway?
But yeah, that was kind of what I'm very much a planner. I love a bit of planning. So the kind of 3-year plan, going back three and a half years to when I went full time doing this stuff, and that was the point when we said, right now, Anna, this is your opportunity to go and do your degree that you started 5 years before or whenever it was and couldn't finish because of parent stuff. Now's the time because I can be flexible at my hours, and then when you're done, I can be flexible at where we go. So we knew this year we would be moving somewhere to wherever she was going to be working, and the plan all along was we would just move anywhere because, like you say, it really doesn't matter where I am as long as I can get an internet connection. I can just pick it up and do it anywhere. So we are lucky that we were able to do that. But it was, like I say, the plan. As a planner, having my plan go out of the window constantly has been upsetting at times.
It's one of the pains with my job, my full-time job. I have to be within 45 minutes of my plant, otherwise I can't do my job, so we're very, very kind of tied, and then my wife wants to be close to her family, so it really kind of narrowed it down. So when we moved, it was like, okay, you're moving to an area about this big. That's all the places you can move. I'd love to have the freedom. I'd love to be able to just pick something up and just go somewhere completely different. I get really itchy feet, and I hate to stay in one place. And I've always lived in this kind of area that I live, give or take 20 minutes up the road there or whatnot. I'd love just to pack up my stuff and just go, right, we're going to go 4 hours that way, and wherever we land, we're going to live. That'd be class.
Sorry, dude. Did you, Kev, obviously I know it was quite a quick process, the moving house. Whichever house you looked at, did you look at it and think straight away, right, which room's going to be my office then? Because even even when I'm looking at houses now, like it's probably going to be another 12 months or so, I'm like looking at every house and thinking, which one can I put all my computer stuff in?
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty much the main criteria. Yeah. It sounds insane, but it kind of is. Because, I mean, ever since I started YouTube, I've been working out of my garage, and that's rubbish.
Yeah.
That was never planned. That was the only place I could work. So the proviso I put on Anna when I said we'll move absolutely anywhere as long as I can have an office in the house where I can actually, have luxuries like a radiator and a window and that kind of stuff. So once we realised that, it did kind of narrow down the type of house that we could go for, because I tend to stream in the evenings. Having an office next door to the kids' bedroom or our bedroom wasn't going to work. So that we fairly early on we decided we wanted something 3-story where I could have where there would be an office on the ground floor and as a minimum, our bedroom and Andy's bedroom on the top floor, so that I'm not keeping Anna up when she's on a night shift and she's trying to sleep during the day, and I'm down here yelling "goal" like a lunatic. But also so that I'm not keeping Andy up, because his sleep schedule is very messed up anyway, and we kind of it's only in the last year or so we've been able to flush the toilet after 9 p.m. at night, because up until then, if we flushed the toilet after then, it would just wake him up and he'd be up then. So he can't have noise going on when he's in bed. So we, again, having to narrow it down to be able to have that floor of separation between where I'm working and where they're sleeping, and being able to have a pet, meant we weren't able to be fussy at all about location. We kind of put in the postcode of where Anna's new job is, put plus 20 miles, I think is what we put on there, and then started filtering it for all these things that we needed. And if this house, because the other thing is trying to prove my income is fun as well. If this landlord had an issue with what I do as a job and with me working out of the house, I don't think we'd have been able to do it, because it was the only place we could find that had the office. It was far enough away from the bedrooms and let us have the wonderful Dave the dog. And thankfully they didn't. I mean, they were completely in support of me working here. I said, "You realise me working there means I'm gonna wreck that room. I'm covering it in audio foam. I'm going to be blocking out the windows so people can't see in. Yeah, do what you want. As long as you put it back again after you leave, it's fine. Do what you want." So we found a really good landlord who's like really, really supportive and letting us do what we want. She doesn't mind that I'm working out of the house, which I know is a bit of an issue with some people. I guess it's less of an issue now because lots of people are working from home.
Yeah.
But I know in the past, if you're telling them you're running a business out of your house, some landlords are like, "Oh, I don't really want you to do that." So we've been really lucky with what we found.
So I moved in August bank holiday. I moved, and again the landlord was superb for me. I'm in the top floor, so I'm in the attic, as you can probably see with the eaves. So there's a whole floor between. They're all downstairs. I'm quite noisy. I'm quite loud, so that really works. I mean, you wouldn't have guessed it. I'm quite shy, really. But like when I discussed it with the landlord, I'm like, I'm going to be sticking pictures up. I'm going to be sticking lights up, etc., etc. He's like, "Yeah, that's cool. My son's really into Fortnite. Do you stream now?" I was like, "No." He's like, "But do you mind, like, once it's all up, can we all come and have a little look round? Because he finds it so interesting." And they came around and they had a little look, and he's like, "This is so cool." You know what I mean? And I think the boy's about 15, and he's just like, "This is like, wow, look at all this stuff." I hide the porn most.
Did he ask you if you know Dave has a party?
He did, yeah. I said no.
Who? The kid's favourite.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is brilliant. What has lockdown been like for Andy, Kev? Like, how was he sort of taken to that? Obviously, I know there was a couple of issues when you first moved in, but like at the start of lockdown especially, like how
he's not happy you've not been uploading videos, David.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a good point. Although he'll watch this one constantly, because the one of Dave's videos that's his favourite is when Dave. I don't know if Dave was interviewing me or I was interviewing Dave for something years ago. We did something like 4 or 5 years ago.
Season review, I remember. It was like at the end of FM, was asking how everyone's channel had got on.
Yeah, he listens to that most weeks. So if that's not your most viewed video ever, Dave, I'm confused, because he is on there constantly.
Maybe you should wave and say hello to Andy then, Dave.
Hi, Andy. There you go.
Hi, Andy. There you go. Everyone's done it.
We all do a wave.
There you go.
He's struggled with it. It's been really rough on him, and it's been rubbish. His routine's been turned on its head. He absolutely thrives on routine. He needs that day to day. This is what I'm doing. This is when I'm doing it. If anything is going to vary from that, we need to know in advance that it's going to vary, and we need to prepare him for it. And for the last 9-10 months now, that's just not been there. He still doesn't understand why we haven't been to Disneyland yet, because we were telling him pretty much from the moment we got back from our holiday last year. We booked it for the following year and told him. So he still asks every single day if we're going to Disneyland today, because he doesn't understand why we haven't been. So we were supposed to go in May. And then we had it rebooked for August, because we tried to get it in between lockdowns, because he was really struggling with not going. And again, we got to the point where we were 3 days away from going before they put the quarantine stuff back on again for France. So we had a couple of weeks where we were saying we're going in a couple of weeks, we can finally go, and then we had to not go again. So every day he's asking why he's not going to Disneyland, but now he's got the added confusion of he doesn't really get why he's not at school.
Yeah.
We can't tell him when he's going back to school because he hasn't got a school here yet. We don't know when that's going to be. And we don't know what school he's going to. And we can't show him it. We can't tell him anything. So we've gone from him needing that daily routine and knowing what he's doing, when he's doing it, and when things are going to change, to we have absolutely no idea what's going on and how long it's going to be going on for. And he's found that really, really hard to cope with. And then when you pile on the internet problems we had when we first moved into the house, because the internet's been the only constant he's had for the last 10 months or so. He does rely on the internet. He kind of goes through his routines, even things that you don't realise are essential to have the internet for. Like, he's got in the habit of watching a different Disney movie on each day of the week as a compensation for not going to Disneyland. So, and it's the same movie on the same day at the same time every week.
Wow.
But without the internet, we didn't have Disney Plus. We don't own the DVDs. Why would we own DVDs? We have Disney Plus, but without the internet, we didn't have Disney Plus. So that's when he decided to put his fist through our TV, because he was watching one of his Disney movies. We thought, right, now's the opportunity to we know he's there. He's going to be all right for a couple of hours watching that. We can go maybe unpack some of these boxes. We came down 20 minutes into the film. The TV was off. He was lying on the floor because I guess it had buffered because the internet was rubbish. And it had buffered, and he just fist through it and smashed the TV. And that's just one of many things that he's struggled with throughout all of this. And thankfully, our internet's working now. And he's kind of got himself into a new routine of... we can watch the movies again. He has certain TV shows that he's watching at certain times, and he's okay. But he's not really left the house since we've lived here, other than taking Anna to work. He's barely left the house because I don't know where the local park is, and because it's only me and him here during the day, he won't go out of the house unless there's a purpose to it. He won't just go out and explore. So I can't go and find where the park is because I can't go because he's with me. And I don't even know if the parks are open. I don't even know if parks are allowed to be open on this lockdown. But I'm trying to think of anywhere I can take him to get him out of the house, and there just isn't anywhere. So his routine at the moment is rubbish, and it's going to be a massive culture shock when he does find a school again. And I just need it all to be over now, so things can go back to normal. Thank you. Normal would be lovely around about now.
Yeah, it's crazy that, like, especially with the movies and everything like that. I remember watching some of the older vlogs. Just like one little thing, even if it's a few minutes out, can just, yeah. And
the really frustrating thing is, for the last 6 to 8 months before lockdown, we'd moved past that.
Yeah.
He was, the most common comment we got on the vlogs was how much progress he's made, how different he was. And he was. We were able to, we just on a whim went to Belgium last summer, just for a couple of nights. Stayed, it was, I think I clickbaited it, £7 holiday or something, because I used club card vouchers to pay for a hotel in a Eurotunnel. And we just went, and we didn't know what we were going to do when we were there. And a year before, he wouldn't have been able to do that, but he had a great time. And we were just getting to the point where we were able to do, I hate using the word normal because it's all the connotations.
It's your normal, isn't it?
Yeah, we were getting into something closer to normal family life, where we weren't on eggshells all the time planning everything around him, and we were able to go and do stuff with him even, which, that was the big thing. Being able to include him in some of the other stuff that we were doing was massive. We went and played crazy golf, which sounds like nothing, but he'd never been able to go and play crazy golf before, and we did that. I think it might even have been like a year ago. Mm-hmm. And we went and played crazy golf, and we were starting to do these other things, and then with all this happening, it's just been straight back to where we were, to the point where I can't even take him to the shops now. If we run out of fish fingers, which is what he has for lunch every day, if we run out of fish fingers, and I realise that at 11 o'clock in the morning, and Anna's at work, he's so set in his new routine now that he won't even come to the shop with me to buy him some fish fingers so he can have something to eat at lunchtime. So we've gone way back, probably 2-3 years in his progress, and I can't imagine that's going to turn around until we can start putting some structure back into his day-to-day life, which we can't do, and we don't know what's happening with lockdowns and things.
And what's your situation with obviously seeing family? Obviously, if I remember rightly, you had some family where you lived before or nearby. Like, what's the situation been like the last year, seeing family, meeting up with family?
It's been a weird one because I mean, my dad, where we lived before, my dad lived 2 streets away, so we were able to see him quite regularly. Since we've moved, we haven't, because obviously we've moved and gone straight into lockdown, and we're now an hour away, so it's a little bit different. But we've been able to keep up to date with seeing him. But with the way bubbles and stuff work, my brother has got a young daughter. He's only a couple of years old, and his fiancée is pregnant. So my dad, understandably, has gone into that bubble. Yeah. Because they've got a 2-year-old. My youngest kid's 14. They're not interesting anymore. So you go in the bubble with the little uns. So we've not seen him as much as we ordinarily would. And we haven't seen my brother and his family at all since before the first lockdown. I don't think we've seen him at all. So his little daughter, who last time we saw her, was just starting to do the odd word and was just starting to take a few steps around. We've not. I understand she's walking and talking now, but she's not seeing us. She's not seeing her little cousins, or big cousins, because they're my kids. They ain't little anymore. But yeah, so, and we're looking ahead to their new babies coming in the next month or so. We have no idea if or when we're going to be able to get to see them. I guess it depends on what happens with lockdowns and stuff at that point. So we've not seen each other as much as we normally would. We used to have a little routine where we'd all go round to my dad's house every 2 weeks on a Sunday dinner. We'd all go around there, and it'd just be a chance for everyone to see each other. And we've not been able to do that all year, because we are we've followed. Although sometimes people don't believe it when they see my Twitter. We have followed all the rules to the letter the whole time. And if we've been told not to meet up, we haven't done any of the meeting up. We didn't even do the meeting up in the garden thing when you were able to do that, because mainly because trying to tell Andy you can go in the garden but not in the house it's not worth the conversation. It's better to just not do it, because he knows when we go there, we go in the house. So he's going in that house if we go there. So we've not seen anyone really since the start of the year, other than the fact we had the moving house exclusion, where my dad was able to come over then to help me build a dining room table. So he has been over to the new house once to help me build the dining table, and that's the last time I saw him. And I mean, we were obviously speaking on the phone and stuff, but it's been, I've seen the whole family far less this year than I ever have before, and now obviously we've moved further away as well. And Anna's family we've barely seen at all. I think because that involves a trip over to Nottingham, and it's they're all spread. They're not all in one place in Nottingham either. It's like she's got, how many brothers has she got? Like 1,000.
Wow.
Like three.
Did they not have a telly?
I think she's got. Is it 4 brothers? I think it's 4 brothers, and they're all in different parts of the city. And it's not doable seeing everybody. So. We've not really done much in the way of family stuff this year, because obviously on top of all that we've been mega busy with everything as well, because all of this nonsense has completely changed the way her uni course worked. It changed how my job works completely. I consider myself to have a different job now to what I did a year ago. And this one takes more time. This one takes a lot more time.
Have you been subject to the old Zoom quiz or Zoom call at all this year?
Not really, no. I'm not a very sociable person anyway. Like I mentioned, we'd go round to my dad's house for dinner, but I would be the one who'd be sat in the corner, not really. Yeah. I'm aware of what's going on, but I'm not very conversational. It's no people don't believe it when they see me on videos and on Twitch and stuff, and the fact I'll just talk constantly. But I'm very different when I've not got a camera and a microphone.
I think I saw that the first time I met you. You were very quiet. I think the year,
Yeah, I am.
I think the year it was weird because I remember the first FM event you were really quiet, and then the next day you got your camera out and you started talking. I was like, oh, Kev's actually talking.
Yeah.
But then
When I've got the camera on,
Yeah.
I'm in entertainment mode.
Exactly the same. When I met you at the which one was it? I think it was the charity match. When you did your vlog at the charity match again, when you had the camera out, it was it was different, but it's amazing. It's like a little on-off switch
Yeah, it is.
in the nicest possible way. I don't mean that in
Before the vlog, I don't really have much in the way of social skills. I've never been good at social stuff. And before the vlog, I mean, the vlog is very much a crutch that allows me to be closer to a normal human and have conversations with people. And I know from conversations I've had with other creators that I've met over the years that their first impression of me, that sometimes lasts for years, is that I'm really rude and not interested, and that's not how I am. I can't do conversation. I'm not very good at it. But if I'm making a video, or if I'm making a podcast, or if I'm streaming, then I know what the rules are to that, and I can perform. But if we were having this, if one of you had just rung me and asked me the same question, if David rung me up and asked me the same question he's asking me now, you wouldn't be getting the same answers, because I'm doing these answers. It's performance.
That's Lollujo, not Kev.
Yeah, exactly.
It sounds silly, but yeah. I mean,
no, but to be fair, as I said, the first year you were quite quiet. The second year you were a lot more. I felt you were, maybe it's because you've been a year more as a creator. I thought you were more conversational then.
And he was in a rush.
Yeah.
What wasn't the second year the year they had a film crew in the room with us the whole time, Dave?
Oh yeah, that's probably why as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I was very aware that
Even the early access capture events, I felt you were a lot more conversational.
But even at them, I'm the one who sits there just recording 15 videos.
That is true. Yeah.
So I'm making a lot of
Still
noise,
work
but
mode.
I'm not sitting in the bar area playing FIFA and snooker and whatever else everyone else is
Whilst
getting up to.
Matt's analysing the start screen.
Yeah.
Kev's done 10 videos.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so I can go and do that and I've learned how to do the bantery stuff that you do at stuff like that. But when it comes to sitting in the bar at the end of the day and Work the Space starts talking about Beyblades, and I'm like, not only do I not know what one of those is, I don't know how I get involved in this conversation because I don't understand what any of these young people are talking about. And I have nothing to add to this, and I don't know how to change the subject, and I'm just going to sit here quietly. And I spoke to Ben like a couple of weeks after that, and he said, you were really weird at that event. You didn't really say anything weird to anybody. And it was like, yeah, but I don't know what to say. I don't really know any of you. It's weird.
That was a weird evening, though, that was. Because that was the first day of the Creators' Cup, the second one. And they got us to go, like, it was weird because everyone got there, like, late afternoon, early evening on a Saturday. Went straight out for dinner and came back to the bar, and it was just the creators. Like, I think Curtis had gone and Tom had gone. And the conversations, Beyblades, like, all sorts. It was a weird evening, that was. But
yeah. So I made my excuses fairly early on and went to bed. I stuck it out for us listening for as long as I could. But I was sat there thinking, it's now been 25 minutes since I said a word. Someone's going to notice this.
Maybe
at
I'll
some
drop a
point.
laugh somewhere.
Yeah. At some point, I need to have something to say about something, and then shortly after leave, so I don't look like a total weirdo. So I think that's probably at the point where I just said something on the lines of, "You lot have been talking about these Beyblades for half an hour. I have no idea what they are. I'm so old." And then 5 minutes later, made my excuses and went to bed. It was just like, I need to say something. I know enough about social situations to know I've got to say something. But I have nothing to add, and you're all weird.
You're the weird ones. Yeah.
Should have just called an emergency meeting and just voted somebody out. It would have been easier.
Obviously, Kevin, you would have seen a lot of the podcasts. We've sort of tried to touch on mental health and so on. There have been people that have come on the podcast that have struggled with it in the past and had to reach out. Have you ever had to be in that situation where you've had to reach out, or do you think you'd be able to reach out if you were ever feeling low?
Yeah, I struggle with answering questions like this and talking about this kind of stuff because I I firmly believe my brain works differently to everybody else's, and I've mentioned on the vlog before that I am pursuing an autism diagnosis for myself, because the longer I've been working with Andy, the more I'm recognizing traits that he has that I have in myself. And I think the bit where most people feel stuff, I don't have as much of that as everybody else, I don't think. And because of that, I don't tend to have those ups and downs. This is probably an issue in and of itself. I don't really have the highs or the lows, I don't think. I just experience things and then analyze them and then experience new things and decide what I want to do next. And it's not like I don't enjoy myself and I don't get annoyed or I don't get upset. I have all that stuff in there, but they're very much sort of segmented off from the rest of my brain. I always describe, and people think I'm nuts when I talk about this. I view my brain as like an office with sets of filing cabinets and stuff in there. And if I need to remember stuff, I literally go over to the filing cabinet, find it, and that's happening in my head while I'm talking about things.
Not a bad thing.
And it's very much
photographic memory.
It's not quite photographic, but it helps me remember stuff and stay organised. And I kind of, in that little office setup, feelings and stuff are very much in a drawer that's just shut over there on its own, and I don't open it very often unless I'm asked to express a feeling about something. And then I literally go through the process of going to find out how I feel, because I don't really know. I'm not feeling it all the time. And I realised that, for years I thought this was how everybody was. And it's probably only in the last 5 or 6 years of having conversations with people, which is a skill I've learned in my 30s. I'm getting there. Realizing that's not normal. That's not how everybody else's brains work, and most people are feeling stuff all the time. So I don't think I've ever had. I've never felt I've been in a situation where I've needed to reach out and talk to somebody about stuff. But that's because talking to people about things is never going to be my first thing that I would do anyway. I very much sort of turn in on myself and work things through logically and
read back through your patch notes.
Yeah, pretty much that. Yeah. The thing that I struggle with most is I recognize that the way I am about stuff like that does affect the people around me and can upset the people around me. Like my dad I think it hurt my dad that when my mum died, I didn't cry, and I wasn't outwardly and obviously upset the way everybody else was. And it took me a long time to work through why that was and try and explain why that was. And it's obviously, and the way I've tried to explain it to him is it's not that I wasn't sad, and it's not that I don't miss her and all that kind of stuff, but it's my brain very much is, well, that section is now finished. I move on to the next section, and I have to kind of force myself to go back and think and feel about what's gone on, because otherwise it would just be right. That's done. Next thing. And that's kind of like my brain's motto. That's done. Next thing. And I don't then think back on the previous things, and it causes problems. It definitely causes problems. So I think rather than reaching out with help for typical stuff, what I probably need to do is go and have someone unpack all of that and work out why that's why my brain works the way it does, and stop coming across as a rude man who doesn't care about anything, which is certainly how I do come across sometimes when I'm not playing the Lollujo character. Kev appears to be rude and doesn't care, and sometimes doesn't think through the consequences of what he's doing, and does occasionally balls stuff up because he hasn't thought about it the way a normal person thinks about it. And this is why I think I have a bit of a tendency to rub people up the wrong way, without even knowing that I'm doing it. And then it's like afterwards I'm trying to figure out, right, at what point did I do something dumb that I perhaps shouldn't have done, and then trying to figure it out afterwards. So I've gone way off the question you asked, Dave.
It's
in
all right.
response, if I ever felt like I needed it, I think I could reach out for help, and I would always encourage other people to as well. But I think just because of how my brain is, it wouldn't be my it's. I mean, I'm nearly 40 and it's not come up yet. I don't anticipate it coming up. Obviously, it could at any point.
Yeah.
But I guess luckily, thankfully, that's one thing my brain cooperates with me about. It's all the other stuff that it does that I could fix, please. I'll fix that stuff now, thanks.
It's interesting because like it's obviously you've explained it there as if you've like sort of almost don't show or feel much emotion. Like obviously the thing like you were saying about your mum passing away, and I can sort of see from an outsider that people around you are going to be, like you said, are going to be upset and aren't going to understand why you aren't showing that emotion. But at the same time, with what you said, like that's a chapter ending and go on to the next thing. It almost means that for you, you're almost not dwelling on anything that's happened in the past. Not just that situation, but in anything really. So
which has its positives and negatives,
yeah,
because
course, yeah.
it means obviously sometimes I don't learn from my mistakes.
Yeah.
Because I'll do something, it will have a negative outcome, but I won't necessarily know unless that is really obvious to me that it had a negative outcome. I might not recognise that it has had one. So I can get myself in trouble by repeating the same mistake over and over again, and then that makes people think I don't care. It's not that I don't care, it's that I didn't realise it was a mistake. I didn't realise the impact that it was having.
It's like you've got a fast processor. It's like you literally just clicking through. You'll process it fast, deal with it, done, on to the next thing. But like you say, because you haven't taken you don't get the time to dwell on anything. Obviously, the next time it happens, it's just another case of, well, I processed that quick last time, so I'll do it again.
Yeah,
and it's no time. That everyone's different on it, and like I'm sitting here listening to this, and I'm thinking, I know you're saying about using the word normal, but your life is far from a normal 9 to 5 life, and you just kind of sail through it. Like, as I say, I know the videos are different, and we've kind of spoken off of stream, off of camera, but you seem to just be very one level and just go for it. Like, just nothing seems to get in the way. There's no stumbling blocks. It's just, the next thing is the next thing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I until we moved house, I don't think I'd missed a day uploading since I started YouTube 5 years ago. Just
smashed it.
Yeah, it hasn't occurred to me to miss a day. I'll plan in advance to make sure I don't. And there's been a couple of times I've been sick, and even then I might have missed 1 or 2 here and there, but that was and for some of that was 2 Football Manager videos, a vlog, and a stream each day. And I've realised that's not normal, and I've been telling myself for 5 years it's not sustainable.
Well, you're still doing it.
Yeah,
you've sustained it.
Yeah, exactly. I worry sometimes because I get people contact me and say, Kev, I wish I had your work ethic. And my response is always, I don't think it is work ethic. I think it's just, what else would I be doing? I don't really... The only real hobby I ever had, I turned into my job. So now I don't really have any other hobbies. So I like playing Football Manager and I like making videos. So I'll do those things unless... And this is why Anna's brilliant. Anna has helped me sort my brain out so much in the last 8 years or so that we've been together, because she'll make me stop and say, right, you've been doing that too much now, you need to do something else. She makes me do... I describe her as my carer, because she basically is. She makes me do try something different days. And it sounds like a thing you do with a 5-year-old, but even stuff like, I go to a lot of conventions, Comic-Con, gaming conventions, that kind of thing. But I got myself into a routine in them as well, where I'd stay in the same hotel, I'd go to the same restaurants, we'd do the same activities at the same times, and we did the same one like 4 or 5 times in a row, and she said, right, we're not going to that restaurant tonight, you're doing something different, and we're not going to go and find somewhere else that does similar food so you can have the same thing. You are doing something different.
Is that your processor though? Is that your processor though? Because you're going, it worked, so why do something different?
I think that's exactly what it is.
There's no point doing something that we don't know the outcome. Let's do something where we know the outcome, and then it's just like,
you know what to expect.
The bit you said at the beginning, where you plan everything. Yeah. You're a planner, that kind of thing. Well, if I go there, I know that works, and then that fits into the plan. So
if I go to that restaurant, I know I'm going to have a nice dinner.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know what you're going to have.
Why risk not having a nice dinner? I know I like the food they do. I don't need to try the food someone else does. It doesn't matter. Yeah. And it is very much that. But she does force me into doing stuff differently and trying things a different way, and even silly stuff like, right, you've played enough Football Manager now. Play some FIFA.
What? Yeah.
Just do something different. Come and sit in a different room, because I will. I mean, people laughed and mocked me about this on stream the other day when I said it, but since we've moved, and because Anna's not around at the moment, I've been getting dehydrated because she's not been there to ask me if I'm thirsty, which sounds so stupid, but she bought me this bottle of water, this big water bottle, so I can fill it up and drink it over the course of the day. But I will forget to drink, and I will forget to have my meals, and she always used to just pop her head round the door every couple of hours. Do you need a drink? Are you thirsty? Do you need to have a break? And that pause was enough to make me think, do I need to have a break? Actually, I can't feel my feet. Now would be a good time to stand up. But I haven't noticed it because I'm so hyper-focused on what I'm doing that I don't realise what's going on around me. And, she's... I don't know how she puts up with me and Andy, but she's clearly a sucker for punishment, and just sorts us both out and gets us both out of our comfort zone occasionally. And it's she's genius. It's brilliant.
Good.
What during a normal day, do you have like set, like in your head, do you have set times? So like, say for argument's sake, all right, between 10 and 11:30, I'm going to be recording this video. Between 11:30 and 12:30, I'll grab something to eat or whatever. Or in a lot of people's cases, eat whilst they're working. And then
that's this. I don't know if you can see that. Wow. That's my weekly planner. That tells me.
Oh, you weren't joking about the planner then?
Oh no, this is the week that's just gone, so it's telling me what videos I'm doing and when. Well, this is telling me what videos are coming out on which day, and I tick them off as I make them. And I know that first thing in the morning, and it's the routine's a little bit all over the place at the moment because of Anna's changing work schedule. But on my old routine would be I'd be sat at my desk from 8:30 in the morning. I know I'm recording first thing because I always record my videos first thing because I'm at my best first thing in the morning. So I always make it so that I record my videos first thing, which is usually 2 Football Manager videos. Just record them, 1 for each series. We've got 2 series on the go. Then I'll edit them whilst playing the in-betweeny bits. So I'll be doing those both at the same time. Then get to 12, 1 o'clock-ish. At that point, I would go in the house and see Anna for a bit and have a little bit of a break. And then in the afternoon, I'd work on whatever other projects I had going on. So maybe doing something for the vlog or playing a bit, getting ahead on a Football Manager video for the weekend. Because I for the last 8 months or so, I've been doing 2 videos a day, 7 days a week. So I would... I was told I wasn't allowed to work weekends. So I would make sure that I got those videos done in some of the other afternoons as well, or I'd edit something for something else or work on a brand deal or whatever it would be. And then in the evenings, we break for dinner, and then as soon as I'm allowed, I come back out and stream, which is usually about 8 p.m. because that's about 7:30, 7:45. Anna takes Andy up to bed for his bedtime routine and does all that stuff, and then she tends to have an early night because she usually starts quite early in the morning. So from about 7:30, 8 o'clock-ish, I don't really see much of her because she's usually in bed from like 9:30, 10-ish anyway. And most of that time between 7:30 and 10 o'clock is spent sorting Andy out for the evening. So, if I'm not supervised, I will just sit at this desk playing Football Manager, making videos and streaming from 8:30 in the morning till midnight, and then I'll do the same thing the next day. And I could do that indefinitely and not get bored of it.
Sounds
and not because people say how do you not get bored of Football Manager? Well, I've played it every day for 25 years. I don't think I'm going to get bored of it anytime soon because it's what I do.
Yeah.
And then the next question is, well, how are you not any good at it then? Because I play it the same way.
Yeah.
I play it the same way every day for 25 years. I don't learn how to get better.
Well, you've added some of the sort of one-off videos as well this year. I've already seen obviously the one. It's weird because it's almost things that people would think. Like I'm looking at some of those videos and I think about it too. I'm thinking like there's some videos there that I just take for granted with how I play that some people might not play that way, and it's always a good video. Like your installments video, for argument's sake. I've only really started doing that in the last 2 years or 2 versions of the game, but just seeing how you. I watched the video, but even just a small bit about how you sold players was different to how I would sell players. So that's helped already, like even during my save. So I think those one-off videos will do well. Like, how have you found those so far?
Yeah, I mean they've kind of all grown out of the Discord, which is something I've only really had for the last 6 months or so. And I kind of said, what do you want to see? Because I've got Andy with me all day at the moment, and because I am working shorter work days, it's not realistic at the moment for me to do 2 series on YouTube. So the plan at the moment is to just do the 1 series and then still try and get to maybe 10 videos a week by putting in some extra bits here and there. So I just asked, what do you want the extra bits to be? And they've all sort of come off the back of people's suggestions at the moment, or like the one about how to sell players came directly out of several people in the comments for the how I buy players video, saying, okay, that's all well and good, but how did you get 5 million for Slimani? Right, well, I'll make a video showing you how I did that then. Fair enough. So they're kind of all rolling off the back of each other at the moment. I really enjoy making them. There's something a little bit different. And like you say, they're things that I just kind of do on autopilot.
Yeah.
And you kind of forget that, especially at this time of year, there's so many people playing the game for the first time, especially this year. There are so many new players who don't really know where to start. And just having someone make a video saying, just automate everything to begin with and just try and do one thing. Maybe your first season, just do your tactics. Let the game take care of everything else. And this is how you let the game take care of everything else. So I think they're a lot of fun. They are doing well. It surprises me which ones do better and which ones do worse. Like I thought the XG one would be, I thought that would pop, and it didn't really. But the one that was just the one about how I spent £100 million in a transfer window, that's been my most successful video of the launch period, based on the first kind of 48 hours since it came out. And to me, that one was the most obvious, because it is, like Dave says, just doing installments. Yeah. Doing installments and loaning players. But that one
people love really transfers.
Well. Yeah, exactly. So I think I am going to try and do more of that over the course of the year, because I know when I look at the without getting too analytic-y, when I look at the analytics on my channel, the bulk of my subscribers have joined me in November and December over the course of the last 5 years. It's always been November and December, and part of that is because that's when the game comes out, so that's when the interest is highest. But that's also when I do all my episode 1s, and when I do my, like every year I do a first look at FM Mobile and a first look at FM Touch and all that kind of stuff. So it's November and December are the only times a year where I'm making content for new viewers, because no one's going to come and look at my channel for the first time in April and think, you know what I really want today? I want episode 75 of a long series. I'm going to go and find one of those. So I need to get better at doing standalone videos throughout the year. And you can blame Zealand for this, because obviously he's shown in the last year just how successful you can be by doing standalone videos that then create a funnel towards your other content. I mean, he's mastered using YouTube as a way to grow a Twitch stream and just constantly feeding people into his Twitch 3-4 times a week from videos that are always bringing in new viewers, and he's absolutely smashed it. And I think you've seen with a lot of FM creators this year that we've all stolen his idea. Because
I know what you mean.
It's a damn good idea and it works, and it's so obvious. And I think we all got kind of stuck in our rut of, we'll just do our Let's Plays and everyone likes them, and our audience is the audience is only so big. Zealand's proven the audience isn't only so big. Zealand will get 1 million subs within the next 3 years. He just will. The audience isn't capped. It's not limited. We were limiting it by only making one type of content as a community. And now we're making content for the new people as well. It's not so much of a closed shop. There's a way for new viewers to get into our channels, and then they might get in and like the look of some of the other stuff that's going on. And I know Work the Space was mentioning he'd had his best launch period ever. I've had my best launch period ever. I assume if you go through channel to channel, everyone's picking up more views, more watch time, more subscribers than they ever have before. And that's not just because there's a little bit more interest in the game and people are at home. It's because we're making different kinds of content and appealing to a wider range of people.
Yeah, I think everyone has changed the game, and I think, like you say, Zealand's probably been a big reason why people have done that. I think people are, I'm going to do this type of video, and if you ask them why, deep down, it's probably because Zealand had done something similar, or that's the style of that seems to be going well. Those sort of one-off videos as well.
I think
Now we just all need to get an editor like kids.
Yeah.
I think you're right there, Kev.
My editing is gone.
No, sorry, go on. I just butted in. I'll cut you at the end.
I was just going to mock my own editing. There was nothing really.
That's all I was going to do. Actually, mock your editing.
What's editing?
I will say one thing. I think one thing that Zealand's definitely done for the community is just kind of almost restart everybody, make everybody think a little bit smarter, a little bit differently, and like you said. When you look at the content and you look what's out, it's not that it's a massive difference, because let's be honest, you're very limited to what you can and cannot do with Football Manager. It's very one level, but it's just that little bit extra, and it's kind of making everybody think, okay, so if I do this could happen. And I mean, I think you see it throughout. Everybody does it now, and I think all it will do is help the community as a whole grow bigger and better. I think it's brilliant. I really do.
And plus, if you sell RGB floodlights, you've got a lot to thank Zealand for as well, because we've all got them now.
I had them before, I promise.
How's Zealand successful? Is it his quality of his video? Is it his editing? No, it must be the fact he can change the colour of his background. Let's all do that. And everybody did.
I think the one thing that's going to be really frustrating is when an American has the highest amount of subscribers for a Football Manager game and he still calls it soccer. I think, Kev, you need to... You work the space and Ben need to all get together and make sure that does not happen.
Well, we should talk to YouTube and just merge the 3 channels.
Yeah, that'd be
That might
fine.
be the way forward.
I can't see where that would not go well if the 3 of you merged your channels.
Yeah, because we always agree on everything as well.
Absolutely.
So it'll be perfect.
Oh man! And Kev, to finish this off, we always ask a few questions about. Obviously, we know you're a busy man in terms of Football Manager. When you step away from that, books. I mean, do you read much books? Are you a big book reader?
I mean, probably more a comic book reader than a reader. I always have all my comics behind me, which, I mean, they're literally a set there for show.
Yeah.
Most of them have never been opened. I read all my comics on my iPad.
Yeah.
I buy the really cool ones again to put in my background to make myself look intelligent.
Yeah.
He buys comic books to look intelligent.
Zealand do that? Just checking. Did
Zealand
Zealand do that? Is that why he's successful? He's got comic books as well. That's why Kev's now got them.
Yeah.
It's all becoming apparent now. I can find out. I see what's going on.
No, Omega Luke said that though. He buys comics and he's left them in the original packaging, but then he won't. He doesn't like reading them on an iPad or like a screen because he feels it doesn't feel the same. So
it doesn't feel the same, but shifting them upstairs. I do all my reading in bed before I go to sleep.
Yeah.
And shifting them upstairs to read is a pain in the backside, and plus they're not backlit, which means if I try and read one of them in bed, I am going to get a punch in the face because I'm going to bed after Anna's been in bed 4 hours. Why have you turned that light on? Why can't I hear pages rustling?
Yeah.
Whereas if I'm on my iPad, I can just sort of tilt it away from it, turn the brightness down, and I'm all right.
Yeah.
So I read a lot of comics. The one real book that I do read bits and pieces here and there. If you want a book recommendation out of me, the book that changed my life is The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. Because that made me realise that it was possible to go and try and do this for a living. Because I'd wanted to do... I mean, I've been plugging away at making content for years through podcasting and blogging and writing and video. And I think it's about 12 years since I uploaded my first piece of content to the internet at this point. And it's something I always wanted to do but never thought I could actually do as my job. And that book, I mean, it's brilliant for many, many reasons. There's sections in that book that I think are the reason I won the Streamer Showdown as many times as I did, because I take some of the principles out of that book and apply them to competitive Football Manager.
Can you hear that now? That's Ben ordering that on Amazon right now.
Yeah, that book.
He's. I've already found every edge there is to find. He won't find any more edges in there. This is. I won't play in it anymore. I've found every edge that I could find. I think at this point, I've got to find the new edges in the new game. But the bit that was really properly life changing was there's a section. I think it's called fearscaping, where you basically write down on a piece of paper what you want to do, and then write down what's the worst thing that could happen if you do it, and how long will it take to recover from that worst thing. And I literally went through that process when it was when it became apparent that I might need to be around at home a little bit more to help Anna out with Andy 3 years ago, I just wrote down, okay, I quit my job as a teacher and try and earn my money on the internet. What's the worst thing that can happen? Oh, I can't pay my bills. That's pretty bad. But how long does that take to recover from? Well, I could probably get another job relatively quickly. So actually, if I spend 6 months saving up and then spend 3 months spending that money and then have to go and get another job again, when I look back on it in 5 years, did it hurt to try? Probably not. So at that point, I went in and quit my job the next day. At the point when I quit my job to go full time, I had like 5,000 subscribers. My first month of full time as a content creator, I made less than £200. But I'd been saving up and I just went for it. And that book sort of gave me the confidence to just go for it because it was the thing that was going to fit our life the best. Right at the start of this podcast, we were talking about how what I do for a living means I have the flexibility to be able to help support Anna with the stuff that she wanted to be able to do and help be around for Andy and that kind of stuff. And it was just obvious to us both that this would be the perfect life if I could make it work. So we just kind of rolled the dice and went for it. And thankfully it came off.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't recommend anyone else does that. For goodness sake, don't do it the way I did it. But and do go through that process of what's the worst that can happen. How long does it take to recover from? I was very lucky. I was a teacher in a demand subject. I could start work again as a computer science teacher from the 1st of January, even now, because it's a shortage subject that I could walk into most schools in the UK and say, by the way, I can actually program. You can program? Get in here, because most computer science teachers don't have a background in computer science and are doing it all out of a textbook. So I could go and get another job just like that. So I've got a nice safety net. But yeah, that was the book that actually let me take the plunge. So I go back and read it about once a year. It's brilliant. 4-hour work week. Tim Ferriss. Go read it, kids.
And
I got a good recommendation, Dave.
Go on, dude.
Just a quick one is obviously we're starting a new the new school year is kind of just starting and that, and people are going to be taking exams and that. So the Lazy Students Revision Guide.
Is that by David Chapman?
By David Chapman.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Study hacks for exam success without the stress.
Absolutely.
What was it?
Look, I still get a check for that every month, dude. Thank you.
I expect my check after that plug.
Why did you have to change your name on that again?
He's going to send you a copy.
I
need
have to change
it.
the name.
I remember there was a story, but
yeah, basically, I'd been writing fiction for a little while. Which is not available anywhere now because it was rubbish. But I'd been writing fiction for a little while under my real name, and it was full of swearing and inappropriate violence and stuff that, as a teacher, probably shouldn't be something I was exposing my students to. So, if I'd have been thinking long term, I would have done that under a pen name. But when it came to writing the book, that I was actually related to what I was doing as a job, and that I planned to sell to my students, because I'm a monster, or at least show them. And my school bought a load of copies to send home and stuff. So I needed that to be under a name that, when you click on the author name on Amazon, didn't link to my zombie book that I'd written that was full of F-bombs and stuff. So I just used my middle name. And as it turns out now. You're reading all the reviews.
Yeah. I think it's great. This book is great. Unfortunately, my son is too lazy to read it.
Yeah, the reviews are brilliant. But yeah, that's why it's written under David Chapman, because I didn't want people to find the real me. Not knowing that, I mean, I wrote that book 5 or 6 years ago now. I now have a YouTube name under my real name.
Yeah.
So it would have been much better for consistency now if it was all as Kevin Chapman. But I've asked Amazon, and they said if I want to change my name, the only way you can do that is to take it down, re-upload it under the new name, and then of course I lose all the reviews and all the previous chart placements and stuff. And the only way it still charts every year is because it's got such a decent review background. So it's David Chapman now, and people think my dog wrote my book.
I know we pushed for time, Kev, but quick TV. Do you watch much TV, or a recommendation for a TV show?
Not really. I'm not really. I described my days to you before.
Yeah.
There's not much
TV
not much time to fit TV in there. I mean, I do have I think it's a lot of people have said it as well. I have there's that group of American sitcoms that kind of play in the background during the day while I'm working. So Always Sunny in Philadelphia, The Office, Parks and Recreation, that kind of stuff. They just kind of loop around, and I just go from series to series, and they're always kind of on as background noise. But I rarely sit and watch anything new, apart from the Great British Bake Off, because it's awesome.
Because it's brilliant.
Yeah, exactly. I have to watch that every week. But that aside, nothing else really.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, Kev. It's been absolutely brilliant today. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast, and been a really good talk. As always, people, I'm sure will find our links in the description down below, as well as Kev's link in there as well. And if you are struggling with anything, our DMs are always open. You can email WeStreamFM privately, info@WeStreamFM.com, or if you want to talk to someone professionally, there are links to that in the description as well. But until next time, guys, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'm sure we'll catch you all very, very soon. Say goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye.